How you doing there, folks? Lame Schmally coming to you from FEMA Region number 3. And I think I got a little more food for prophetic thought for you here today. Gonna delve into just a little bit of what I went into on my last video. Gonna kind of wrap things up with regards to Live Earth and this thing that's coming up in Paris on the 30th of this month. And then I'm sick of that. I don't want to hear about that Paris crap no more. I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear about Al Gore and all these nuts at the UN talking about climate change, global warming, and those lies. It's all lies. But I gotta, just put a bow on this and get it out of the way. Smack that. A lot of petrichor going on out there in my neck of FEMA Region 3 right about now. If you don't know what petrichor is, you gotta watch this video to blow your mind, cooking. Alright, getting on with it. Thank you, Paco. As you know, Paco is Frenchie's drama. Lady me. Boy, do I hate the road to Paris. Man, oh man. But I gotta tell you, in my last video, I went into this whole thing with the Live Earth and how it all got canceled. Actually, how Elohim put the kibosh on the whole thing. All their grand plans for 100 artists, 24 hours a day, broadcast around the world, 1 billion voices, all that just down the tubes. That's right. But I was curious to see if they still had anything like a website or anything like that, and there you are, you see it right there. But before I go on, I gotta tell you this first. When I originally put in Live Earth to see if there was any kind of new website, once I found out that all that stuff was gone and canceled and all that, the concerts and all that, I clicked on it, and this is what I got. I got this here website for a fertilizer place. Isn't that apropos? But I just had to tell you that. I thought that was a hoot. All right, so there we are. They still have this website up, Live Earth. The world is watching, which I'd say up there 24 hours of reality. How could they possibly muster up 24 seconds of it? Oh my goodness. So apparently Al Gore still got some kind of scheme going on with this whole thing. But anyway, I'll leave a link to this website so you can search through it yourself if you can stand it. But I was going through on my own, and it led me here to this page right here. So you see up there, Road to Paris, and it's got that block in the middle. So I click on it, and it takes me here. And it's got that video there that you can watch, Dear World Leaders. Well, guess what? Let me tell you what. I was going to click on that and watch that video. But instead, I decided to scroll down. Don't know why. I just, Elohim just kind of said, Psst, hey, Laban, scroll down. So that's what I did. And when I did, I know exactly why Elohim wanted me to. Because when you see what I saw, when I scroll down, oh, I didn't expect it. I was really kind of flabbergasted by what I read. You ready? Here we go. Moving on down. Look at that statement. The stars are aligning toward a Paris Agreement. Can you believe that statement? Christiana Figueres or whoever that is. And look at what's his name sitting over there. Oh, hold on. Ah, there we go. That's better. But look at that. The stars are aligning toward a Paris Agreement. What in the world does she mean by that? And I wonder if her boss, Ban Ki-moon, goes along with that. And what about his buddy, Jorge, the false prophet? I wonder if he goes along with that. The stars are aligning. Who do they think they are? What? Oh, this makes my blood boil. Because that is a pretty odd statement for a bunch of left-wing environmentalist nuts to make. The stars are aligning. Now, I went on Stellarium to see if anything particular was going on up in the Shamayim between 11:30 and December 11. And looky what I found. November 30th. the first day of the Paris Climate Conference, and take a look at the wandering star that just happens to be sitting smack dab right on top of the old sun. Saturn, representative of Satan. That's a conjunction there, my friends. So on the first day of this climate conference, Saturn is conjoining with the sun. And I believe the sun is the lake of fire. So perhaps Miss Christine Figueres, or whatever you are, is right about the stars aligning for their little satanic shindig in the city of light. Apropos, wouldn't you say? So the wandering star Saturn conjoins with the sun on the first day of this farce. Let's take a look at the last day, December the 11th. I believe that we will be able to ascertain why it is they picked December 11th for which to line this thing up. Do you know that on December 11th, this man here, Sabante Arrhenius, he becomes the first scientist to deliver quantified data about the sensitivity of global climate to atmospheric carbon dioxide. You know what that means, my friends? That this Swedish nut here is the first person to introduce the world to this. Ha ha! Oh, you can bet your little carbon footprint that Al Gore must have wished he could have met this man way before Tipper. But of course that would have been completely impossible, because he did this, Mr. Arrhenius, did this in the year 1895. Now, if you subtract the year 1895 from the year 2015, how many years have passed since the first treatise on global warming was written? Ha ha! A very biblical number, is it not? Remind you of any particular scriptures? You got it, Amos. And guess what else about Mr. Arrhenius is heinous? Stew on that a while. So there you go, my friends. The World Climate Summit, Paris, France, begins November the 30th, 2015, as Saturn conjoins the Sun, and it ends on December 11th, 2015, to honor an avowed atheist on the 120th anniversary of his writing of the first treatise on the greenhouse effect. And then, 7 days later, on December the 18th, The Force Awakens. And it will open on December the 18th. In a previous video, I said that it opened on the 14th, but that's incorrect. It is December the 18th. It was that IMBD movie site that gives you information about movies and stuff. They're the ones that got it wrong. Don't blame me. Now, as you know, I have been reporting a lot about Walt Disney and their connection with Star Wars, having bought it in 2012, and those mouse ears that I've been seeing up in the sky. But I want to show you something that my dear sister Ortega Blue posted. Where do you see this? Do you see it? Look at it. And it's a red Mickey. It's red Mickey ears. Look at that. I mean, come on. Well, I think a lot of folks out there are saying it's Nebiru, or as Pastor Paul says, Nubaru. But it ain't no Subaru. I'm telling you, folks, it looks like the Mickey ears to me. Ortega, what do you think? You gotta tell me. What do you think that is up there? I couldn't resist, folks. I had to show you. Thank you, Ortega. You're a dear sister. May Elohim bless you beyond measure out there on that island of yours. Can't wait to see you in the Shamayim. And Elohim will tell us what that thing is. And now I gotta move on to something that really disturbed me. I saw this report on my dear brother, Pastor Charlie Garrett's prophecy update of, I think, 2 weeks ago. It's this right here. Disney is helping make Star Wars and Marvel prosthetics for kids. That's right, folks. Disney now owns Marvel Comics as well. Let's read this little section of the article here. A UK-based company is looking to some well-known properties to make prosthetic hands more appealing to children, and it's getting some real help from Disney. Open Bionics is a startup focused on making low cost, in other words, cheap. That's right, cheap because it's little kids. Low cost 3D printed prosthetics. And as part of Disney's Techstars Accelerator program, it's getting royalty free licenses to create prosthetics modeled off Iron Man, Elsa from Frozen, and a glowing, buzzing lightsaber hand calling back to the Star Wars universe. And on top of it, they can plug the movie while they're selling prosthetics to disabled little children. Look at the shirt the kids got on. The Force Awakens t-shirt. Vault, this is disgusting. I'm telling you, folks, Disney is just turned into an evil, satanic hole. Now they're going to probably exploit this whole transabled thing. Look at that. Have you heard of that? Transabled people are cutting off their own limbs to become disabled in disturbing trend. Trend? Yeah, it's just like when the hula hoop came around. Oy. And look at the other headline. In a grim fairy tale world, transgender gives way to transabled. And is it not ironic that they use an allusion to grim fairy tale? We're talking about Walt Disney here. Walt. You're going to be seeing little kids wanting to chop their arms off so they can get a superhero limb. Oh, my goodness. Pray. Oh, watch and pray. Oh, my goodness. This is bad. This is very, very bad. And while we're on the subject of transabled or whatever you want to call it, this isn't exactly a transabled issue. But I reported on something a while back in a video I did called Who Can It Be Now? Which delved into the fact that the Antichrist doesn't necessarily have to be from any particular nationality. I'll put a link to that video. But I want to show you a clip on something I reported on in that video. Here it is. Dr. Sergio Canavero claims it will be possible to transplant a human head onto another body by 2017. However, he's moved it up to 2016. I wonder who his first patients will be. How about a couple? Yeah, perfect. But unfortunately for them, Dr. Canavero already has his first volunteer. This gentleman right here, Valery Spirignov, says he is ready to put his trust in Dr. Canavero. The 30-year-old computer scientist was born with Wernicke-Hoffman disease, a genetic muscle wasting disorder that has left him seriously disabled since birth. New body would be taken from a brain-dead donor. Brain-dead donor? Wouldn't that go without saying? But there you go, my friends. I did that report back at the end of last April, and I got curious. I wanted to know whether Dr. Canavero was still working on this thing. And guess what? Let me tell you what. He is. Look at that headline there. Surgeon promising first human head transplant makes pitch to U.S. doctors. Over the summer, there's the date up there, Saturday, June the 13th, 2015. Over this past summer, well, actually it was spring, he went and had this special conference where he got all these doctors together and tried to get them on board with this thing. And you will never guess where he held this conference. Tahiti? Fiji? Pitcairn Island? No. Approximately 35 miles from where I'm sitting right now. Annapolis, Maryland, FEMA region number 3. Get a load of that one. He probably had a whole bunch of them Johns Hopkins doctors over there. I wonder if he tried to get a hold of Ben Carson. I mean, come on, it's a head transplant, for Pete's sake. Boy, if it wasn't so sick, it would be quite the hoot, wouldn't it? Well, I'm going to show you a little bit of the article. Here we go. On Friday afternoon at the Westin Hotel in Annapolis, Maryland, with a volunteer for the first human head transplant by his side, Dr. Sergio Canavero made a bid to recruit surgeons willing to help him perform the procedure from an audience of fellow doctors at the annual meeting of the American Academy of Neurological and Orthopedic Surgeons. So you can see right there, my friends, it was legit. It was legit. Going on. And you're gonna love this. The topic of Canavero's keynote was a procedure he hopes to perform in the next 24 months, which he calls head anastomosis venture, or oh my goodness, oh, these people have no clue what they're doing, going on. Now that what you see there is very, very sad, my friends. That's a quote from the man who is volunteering to have this procedure done. Read that. I believe my body is just mechanics that I want to have removed. Oh. Lost souls here, my friends. So you got nothing more here than Frankenstein and the monster, for peek's sake. All right, I got one more quote for you. You're going to love this one. This one's a beaut. This here is a question from a nurse that was at the conference. I do feel like it goes far, she said. Suppose you have a head transplant of someone who's an artist and onto someone who's not an artist. Will that person be able to make the arms and the hands still draw? Will the hands still, quote unquote, think? Will it think like it did before? How are all these functions going to work together? And here is Dr. Canavero's answer. You ready for this? I think you might want to have a seat. Read it along with me, my friends. This is what Dr. Canavero answered. You cut the spaghetto. You apply peg, and boom! My goodness gracious. I'm telling you, I'll leave the link. You can read it yourself. But this is, I got it. Forget all this stuff, the spaghetto and let's just take the guy in the chair there, take him over to Ukraine and do this. Turn him into Darth Vader. Just turn him into Darth Vader like they did Lenin in the statue. And then look at that. He can hook up with a Muslim single. Oh, Muslim singles. I thought that was cheese for jihadis. I mean, hey, ISIS is already turning into Darth Vader, right? Oh, my goodness. Oh, Elohim. Thank you so much that we can get some kind of laugh out of this corrupt garbage here, the head transplants and, oh, my dear brothers and sisters, you know me. You know that I am not laughing merely out of meanness or ignorance, but can you actually fathom the idea that medical doctors and professionals of the highest esteem gathered with foreknowledge to listen and consider this abomination? And that man, that poor Russian man, as unfortunate as his situation is, how dare he refer to his body as nothing more than a bunch of machine parts? Tell that to this woman. Tell that to Johnny, who is waiting with all of her heart for the glorified, perfect, and incorruptible body that she will receive from our Elohim very, very soon. While this man is of the world, and unless he has his eyes opened and comes to the Savior, the Lamb of Yahweh, who died for his sins, unless he comes to Yeshua HaMashiach, he will one day be begging for just one moment to be as he is now. All right, my friends, let me now, as Pastor J.D. would say, bring this in for a landing. So you say the stars are lining up. Well, they certainly are, madam. But you and your bunch sure don't have nothing to do with it. I can tell you that. I want to close with something my nephew pointed out to me. This past Saturday, Mr. Donald Trump appeared after much protest and consternation from, well, whoever they are. He appeared on Saturday Night Live. Now, I suppose to garner some extra ratings, Comedy Central re-aired the Donald Trump Saturday Night Live appearance of 11, a very important number for our purposes here right now, 11 years ago. At that time, Jimmy Fallon was a member of the cast and the anchor of the infamous Weekend Update segment of the show. Now, if you recall, I recently reported that on 11/11, at 11 a.m. and 11 minutes, we'll forgo the seconds, I reported that a third celestial formation consisting of the moon, which was new, Mercury, and the sun resembled the Mickey Mouse ears, and that they appeared in the constellation Libra, the balances. Well, 3 days later, on that SNL repeat, Mr. Fallon told a Disney joke that featured this graphic. Now, you might be thinking, Laban, you're grasping at straws with all this Mickey Mouse ears and Star Wars in the sky stuff. But you know what? Let me tell you what. I don't think so. Millions of people watch Saturday Night Live, whether it be first run or rerun, and those who have eyes will see. And here's something else. The very last animated film that Walt Disney had a hand in before his death was Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. Now, I think it may also be significant that Winnie just happens to be a bear. And at this time, right now, at the very doorstep of the borders of the land of Elohim, are 3 bears. And oh ho ho ho, are they in the balance. And I suppose that I would be greatly remiss if I were to neglect to mention that you're probably watching this here video on a Friday the 13th, November the 13th. And considering the last session at the New York Stock Exchange, November 12th, well, it's not open yet at the time that I'm putting this video up, but I get a feeling that it might be safe to say that this November 13th might be a very blustery day.